So, I wanted to give an introduction to this interview to set the stage. This was an interview I did over a year ago, and with a lot of things going on in my life, sometimes you put things on the back burner. With no further ado, here's the interview with my mentor, my friend, Omar Periu from Omar Periu International. And here we go.
Well, one thing I tell people is your life will never be in balance. Don't expect to be in balance because you're always in constant flux. And I hear people say, "Oh, when I win the lottery, I'll be balanced. Oh, when I become a millionaire, I'll be balanced. Oh, when my son makes the major leagues in baseball, I won't have to work so hard." But you know what? No matter how much money you have or little, you're going to be a little out of balance because always something is going on. So you got to be ready for it. And the key is to
We're going to be introducing Omar Periu, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and mentor. Before we get started into this interview, Omar, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you got started, so our audience can get to know you.
Well, I was born in a foreign country. I was born in Cuba, and we escaped when I was a young man, and we were sponsored by church to Joliet, Illinois, and we had no money, no credit, no family, no friends. We didn't speak English, and we've never felt cold air. So, Cubans in Chicago, but met a lot of kind people, taught me English, and long story short, I ended up going to college, and then did well in sports, made it to the Olympic trials. 100-yard dash, also held the AAU record for bench press, 400 pounds.
Wow.
And inherited my mother's voice. And I was doing pretty good, So I decided to go out to California and be discovered as a singer. They weren't waiting for me. So on the way out there, I lost my U-Haul. And then I got a job. And I had this job. Have you ever had a job before you used to fake going to the bathroom?
Yeah.
That was my job. I hated that job.
Oh my goodness.
So I got a job as a personal trainer after that and enjoyed that because I loved working out. And I started training people like Gregory Harrison, Tom Selleck, one of the Dukes of Hazzards, and many, many more. And I got lucky. I met a mentor, changed my life. I went into sales, failed miserably. And I met this mentor who managed speakers. He managed Tom Hopkins, Dennis Waitley, Jay Abraham, Dr. Madison Waltz, just to name a few. And he was friends with amazing people like Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, and he introduced me to people like Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, etc. So I got pretty lucky. I met this mentor, and he changed my life. And we went into the health club business and built the largest health clubs in the United States. And those clubs changed my life. And I finally got to sing. So I bought a record company started buying real estate. I started doing all kinds of different things. And then my mentors asked me to take their place. I was on tour, actually, singing. I won at the time. The Grammy wasn't the Grammy for Hispanics. We had the Otto Cinco China Plata. And I won those 2 years in a row as a singer.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I wrote music and all that. And had records in Spanish, Italian, and all that. And then I went into speaking. I walked into a diner and my mentor was there. He said, "We want you to get going and help us." So I went on the road with Tom Hopkins for 10 years. I was the only authorized speaker in the world for him. And he introduced me to Zig Ziglar and all these wonderful people and put me on the biggest seminars in the world, Get Motivated. Did that since 94, 96. And here I am, 28 best-selling books later, all this stuff. But I really did the speaking because I feel like I had so much to give because I learned so much from my mentors. And I thought, I got to help others the way I was helped because people I became a student after high school.
Wow.
College.
So singer, author, speaker, motivator, educator, pretty much exercise trainer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's started one of the largest fitness locations, centers in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, now I also now mentee. I mentor corporations that I can help either start up or upskill or have an exit strategy. So I'm able to do that because of all the knowledge I've acquired and all the mentors and all the books. So
Well, I mean, that's kind of going to tie into a lot of the questions that we have here today, which is basically how, on the CEO level, we can actually guide other leaders of the industry and different industries to achieve their goals and be able to level up and scale their businesses. So let's get started. So I guess one of the things that ties into everything you just told us is what inspired you to pursue a career as an entrepreneur, as an independent, leader?
yeah, for me, I really enjoyed learning about entrepreneurs, and I read a lot of books. And I was working in a health club, first as a personal trainer, then sales, and I went to management. I thought, I'd rather like be the person who owns the clubs because I thought I could do a better job than the people that were leading me. So I thought I'm going to really learn every process. I tell everybody, if you're going to do something, learn it from the bottom up. So you know every process. So I learned every process about it. And by the time I was general manager, I was ready to take the plunge and become an entrepreneur. So for me, I really wanted to be my own boss. I really like doing my own thing. I'm a self-starter, but I really wanted to be my own boss. I didn't want someone telling me to do something that I didn't think was right. So I mastered all these different skills and systems and tools so I could teach others what I was taught and duplicate myself.
So going into that a little bit, so how would you describe the company culture and values as you were building this company?
The company was built on integrity, but one of the things I was really good at was cleanliness. Health clubs need to be really clean. So I made sure, because I worked out a lot, I still do, that the equipment was up to par, that it was brand new as much as possible, that it all worked, and that the club was clean. But integrity, character, giving a strong mission statement to all my employees with a great vision, that's what really made it work.
So what were some challenges or obstacles that you faced at that time, building the team, building the business?
Well, first was money, right?
Of course.
Had to raise money. And it's not easy when you are getting started. That's why I have that book called The Smart Startup, because I learned that, you have to have everything in place and sometimes use your own friends and family or seed money or equity from a home or something to get your business going. But then after that, you have to go out and raise money. So I was really good at raising money with individuals because I'd sell them the picture, the dream. And they would say, wow, that's great. And I would have them invest from, $50,000 to $250,000 each. And that's how we build the clubs.
So the biggest obstacle usually that you think is it's really raising the money and kind of showcasing the vision. But even there, you still felt like you had a really good intuition in that side.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For startups, it's mostly, as you know, of the thousands of businesses that open January 1st, the majority of them will end up closing December 31st because of lack of funding. So you really got to look at what you need and give yourself some room, right? So you can grow. And besides that, you've got to hire the right people. You've got to train them. See, most people don't train their people. And if people don't work out, if you can't change your people, got to change your people. Because a lot of times we don't get rid of people in our staff and stuff because we don't want to recruit again. We don't want to start all over.
So it's almost like lazy hiring. You don't want to go through the process again. So you kind of later with that employee.
You suck it up.
You suck it up when you shouldn't.
Right.
Basically.
Or you got somebody that's a top producer, and we look the other way a lot because they're top producers. Sometimes when they get to a certain point where they're bringing activity to the team, they're not worth keeping.
Sure. So dealing with all this in terms of building a company and employees and culture, how do you find a measurement of balance between your health and work-life balance?
Well, one thing I tell people is your life will never be in balance. Don't expect to be in balance because you're always in constant flux. And I hear people say, oh, When I win the lottery, I'll be balanced. Oh, when I become a millionaire, I'll be balanced. Oh, when my son makes the major leagues in baseball, I won't have to work so hard. But you know what? No matter how much money you have or little, you're going to be a little out of balance because always something is going on. So you got to be ready for it. And the key is to search for greatness. So don't wish for it to be easier. Jim Rohn, one of my mentors, taught me, don't wish for it to be easier. Wish for you to become better. Because everything is in constant flux and stuff's going to happen. I mean, most companies, the reason they don't make it is failure to implement. They're putting out fires all the time and they don't implement systems. That's where I come in, and that's why I'm able to help a lot of people.
We were talking about this before, proactive versus reactive. Right. So being proactive in the growth instead of reactive and putting the fires out.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. So I wanted to kind of go into how you drive accountability and ensure the alignment among the team and the executives that you put together.
Got to set goals. Got to set goals for everybody, from your branding to sales to customer service to product and services. Make sure you got the best, to following up and following through and staying in touch with your customers. So you got to really set goals for everyone in your organization, whether you're a one-man or one-woman show, or you have, hundreds of clubs like I did.
So what are some steps you take to attract and retain top talent in your organization?
Well, first of all, you got to hire right. Most people don't hire right. So I teach a 3-step process of hiring. So it's important that you don't make a decision on the first time you meet someone, because they might be on their best day. But what about the second or third interview? So you have a series of questions that you dig in a little deeper every time you meet with them and see how they react and their attitude.
Good. Can you describe a situation where you had to handle a difficult employee or in team dynamics?
Yeah, I mean, it happens. What I had a couple situations, many situations.
We don't have to use names.
No, we won't. But I mean, a lot of times, personality clashes. So you have to really just sit people down together and see if they can talk to each other and work it out and find out what is the real root of the problem. And that's what I always did.
Good. I mean, it's a simple solution, but it's hard to implement unless you actually get your butt down in the chair and then sit these people together.
And most people don't want to do that because it's uncomfortable. And the one thing I've learned in life is the only time you grow is when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure. How do you maintain focus on long-term growth while navigating short-term challenges? So balancing those long-term and short-term.
Right. So for me, I was a powerlifter, and I held a EU record for bench press for many years, 400 pounds for my weight class. And if you want to learn about focus, have two judges and a coach behind you. They hand you a bar with 400 pounds. Now, to do 400 pounds, I was actually bench pressing 455, but it was on competition. So they hand you the weight, you bring it down your chest, you can't touch your chest. You hold it 3 inches from your chest, 1.5 to 3 inches. When you hear clap, you bring it up. You can't turn your wrist, can't lift your butt, can't move your head, can't move a foot, or the lift is no good. I learned to focus there. The other thing I learned is in track. I learned to focus. When I was in 4th grade, I was the slowest kid on the relay team. By 5th grade, I was the fastest kid in the school. Why? I learned to focus. Most people don't realize that if you focus on certain activities throughout your day, that goes into weeks, that goes into months, it then becomes quarters, 6 months, 9 months, a year.
Very important. Okay. So can you share any personal or professional goals you have for yourself and the company for the near future?
Yes. So now I own Omar Periu International and other companies. I have 7 entities. And my goal for the future now is, number one, to help others achieve their greatest potential by helping them and teaching them what I was taught and by my mentors and my experiences. I've I now mentor my mentors because I've become this guy that's been able to take all this knowledge and then add my work experience and take it to another level. So once you amplify yourself like that, you become more valuable in the marketplace. And that's why people come to me and say, hey, I have a startup. I'll pay you a retainer to help you with it. I'll give you a piece of the company and whatever you need, you know.
I wanted to tie into some of that investments that you do, because you also do private investments on companies and different businesses.
Yes.
Not just the ones you're mentoring. I guess you must be invited to some other amazing large deals and opportunities. I want to kind of understand, how do you decide if it's a good investment or not? What are some of the points that you look at to define a good investment or a good business to put your money in?
For me, I look at companies that are at least over 7 figures. Okay. And they got to be cash flowing. Because if you don't have sales, you're in trouble. Then I look for challenges. Is it the branding? Is it the product, service? Is it the leadership? Is it the people working there? And then I look for one more thing. I always love businesses that have real estate attached to it. That's what I really look for. But if they don't, I'm looking for those other things we talked about.
Great. So what is one truth about entrepreneurship that you think everyone should know?
That it's hard work. And, you know, hard work is only one of the facets. It's mindset, it's tenacity, it's persistence, it's hard work. You know, Zig Ziglar was one of my mentors. He wrote his last forward for my book, From Management to Leadership. And he would always say this really cool quote. I used to walk with him every night after our speeches. And he always said, because he said on stage, he'd mess around. He says, Omar, you're so motivated. You'd go after Moby Dick with tartar sauce. And he always used that on stage, so it wasn't just to me, but he was amazing. But it's really important that you realize that you got to be persistent, got to be a self-starter. No one's going to give you anything. And they're going to tell you you're not going to make it. I was told couldn't speak English, I was broke, I don't have a degree, I'm this, I'm that, you know, we're either too tall, too short, we're, you know, too young, too old, you know. Well, one of my friends says, why didn't anybody ever tell me when I was perfect? Right?
Well, thank you so much, Omar, for this incredible interview. I'm going to be putting a lot of information below with his website, his social media accounts, so that you guys can learn more about Omar. And again, do you have any last remarks you want to give to our audience, Omar?
Yeah, I just want you guys to realize that, you know, success is in the moment. Make every moment count. Every choice you make is moving you towards or away from your mission, your vision, and your goals. So take action, and I wish you greatness.